Find a vein, drain the black gold. Hoping to God that the timbers hold. Like my father before me, it's all I know. We live only to harvest the cold. Harvest the cold. Mine owner's mercy, about as shallow as a grave. We're living in shanty towns, we ain't got no say. 14-hour shifts, such a meager wage. And Mother Jones can't help us now anyway. Anyway, we'll take the roads, we'll take the trains by force. Oh, deliver us love from the gathering stores. Lay down your Bibles, take up your guns, Blair Mountain. Here we come, oh, here we come.
Hello!
Red bandanas tell us
What side you're on?
Yeah, we're
We're
the
the
rednecks of the Union 1921.
1921.
We'll leave
Tonight,
tonight 13,000 strong. Take it back to
Blair Mountain before the dawn.
Before the dawn. We'll take the roads, we'll take the trains by force. Oh, deliver us love
From the gathering storms.
Lay down your Bibles, take up your guns,
Blair Mountain. Here we come.
Here we come.
Is Blair Mountain an actual place? Yes.
I fight for my father, still buried in the mine. I fight for my son, so he'll have a better life. We're soldiers of the Great War, and it don't seem right to treat a man like a dog just to make a dime. Just to make a dime. We'll take the roads, we'll take the trains by force. Oh, deliver us love from the gathering storms. Lay down your Bibles, take up your guns, Blair Mountain. Here we come. Oh, here we come. Here we come. So find a vein, drain the black gold. You better hope to God that those timbers hold.
Yeah, wonderful. Wonderful.
Go. There we go. The user interface for my streaming software is different after I updated it, so there is it might be a little bit bumpy for the next couple streams, just as a heads up. It's part of the Rockies? No, it's in West Virginia. Blair Mountain is like where the West Virginia like mining wars took place. There is one in Colorado, but Blair Mountain in particular, the Battle of Blair Mountain in particular. Yeah. It's in Appalachia. And there, like, if you want to know more, you can look up the Battle of Blair Mountain. I've been thinking about doing, like, a segment on, like, the West Virginia mining wars for a long time. Just because I think it's a really, really, really pivotal event to understand in American history, you know? Hello, Nocturnal8999. Thank you very much for supporting the stream with 5 tier 1 subs right off the bat. Thank you so much. Also, just so you guys are aware, we're doing a bit of an early stream, but I have approximately 2 hours with you at this point in time, at which point I'm going to go pick up my partner, make dinner, do evening stuff, and then I'll be back later tonight, if my voice allows. The 3 hours that I did yesterday hurt. So, 2 hours seems like a decent window, and if my voice is okay after that, I'll come back. Is there any reason I'm never getting these gifted subs? As far as I'm aware, it's random, Rob Adler. Also, Nathan, thank you for the $5 dono. Don't know why it's not popping up, but maybe the update to my streaming software is slowing things down. I'm not sure. A midday stream, impossible. Anyway, bye, Jack. Just wanted to pop in. Thanks for popping in, and thank you for the $5 dono. Appreciate it. Yeah, the Triangle Shirtwaist Fire Factory, the bombing of Black Wall Street, you know, the Battle of Blair Mountain, you know, there's a lot of really pivotal, like, labor events through in American history that I think we need to reflect on. But yes, I'm going to be trying to do more streams, especially as I get better, because, hey, I need to make up for all the time I was gone, because otherwise I don't get paid. Thank you all for supporting the show. It really means a lot to me. Thank you so goddamn much. Is there going to be any good news today, or just more staring into the abyss? I mean, it's going to be some staring into the abyss, because, you know, the abyss keeps happening. But you know, good things are happening, I'm sure. Hey. Let's see. You know what? Here's a good thing. It's just a cool thing. I want to start off on a good note. I will say I will be covering the Voting Rights Act stuff later tonight. So if you're expecting me to talk about that today, I'm not, like, or right now, I'm not going to. And yeah. There we go. So yeah, it's gonna be staring into the abyss for a bit. Okay. Do want to start out just with a neat little thing. Let's check it out.
I am writing this under an appreciable mental strain. I look around me and see the evolutionary line which made man extinct in this place. A place no man dares tread lightly. Man's lost land to conquer. Antarctica. So, it is here in the South Pole that I find myself surrounded by the Southern Hemisphere and all its strangeness. The wind howled from all directions. When we were awoken by the sound of the most sinister scream, I asked myself, is it possible that what I have experienced over the last few weeks shall be believed like those men? Or will my words come across like those from a madman?
Ah, God damn it. All right, there we go. Yeah, premise, you play as a penguin. Penguins living around an Antarctic research colony, and the humans are going crazy because they've encountered some kind of eldritch, ancient, slumbering civilization, creature, maybe all, you know? Very cool. Very cool stuff. Yeah, Mountains of Madness meets John Carpenter's The Thing meets Penguins. There we go, folks. The Blob? No, The Thing. John Carpenter's The Thing. It's very cool. Yeah, penguins are cool little guys. So this is your reminder at the top of the show that, like, human beings are cool. Like, we make cool stuff. You know, I was learning, I was watching like a discussion between archaeologists earlier today, and like 98% of human history, human beings have been peaceful and not at war with each other. And, you know, I think that that indicates that we are at heart a very cooperative species, and you should take heart in that fact. Okay? There you go. If you need some hopium at the top of the show, take some heart in that. We are at heart a species that just wants to make weird little guy things and like enjoy living amongst nature and also with each other. Like, I think that that's about the gist of it. A wooga indeed, Friedke. Heard at the ending of the Blob was sealed in an ice cube and dumped in on Antarctica. Unrelated to the Blob. The Thing is unrelated to the Blob. Explains why I love collecting cardboard. Hell yeah, Punk Corpse. Playing some Final Fantasy XIV? Hell yeah. People can now meet Emmett Selch for free. OMG actually caught a Jack stream? Hell yeah, Beaker Squeakers. All right. We're gonna just jump into what I wanted to talk about today, okay? All right. Let's see. We'll start with talking about OPEC. We'll talk about the case for impeachment. We'll talk about Democratic cowardice, and we'll see how much time we got left. All right. Remember, folks, at the top of the stream, if you haven't hit the like button yet, please do. Please consider sharing this stream with your friends, your family, your cats, your dogs, your neighbors, etc. Do the things. Also, consider dropping those subs and donos, because otherwise this show ceases to exist. And also, my bones get stolen by the ghost that lives in my walls. So please click the goddamn button. Click the button. Hey, Liberal Dan Radio. Hey, Kalasia. All right. Turns out something happened that indicates something very important is going down. Well, I mean, there's always something important going down, but also I'm streaming early mostly because I want to catch up on the stuff that I wasn't able to talk about while I was gone. So we're going to talk about the Voting Rights Act stuff later tonight when more people are used to me being live. Because I think it's important. I want to get as many eyeballs on it as possible. What's with the blob jar? I don't know what that means. Gas jumped 50 cents today. Yeah, that seems about right. Wait, is the Voting Rights Act dead? Yeah, we'll talk about it later tonight. All right. Are you guys ready to jump in? We're going to talk about OPEC, all right? Also, we're currently at 145 subs at our 500 sub goal of me doing a total breakdown of the Matt Walsh History of Native Americans episode. So that will be, I think, very fun for you guys and hopefully very informative. But also it's going to be a lot of work. So do keep throwing those subs and donos so I can do that work off stream. He did what? He put out an hour-long mini documentary about the real history of indigenous people in America. And yes, it's as racist as you would think it would be. And as inaccurate as you would think it would be. All right. Here we go, folks. Jumping into our first segment. Let's do it. My goodness. Yeah. All right. Okay. Here we go. So, folks, we need to talk about OPEC. It's a group that you might not know about, but it controls a lot about the prices at your local gas station. It is a group responsible for controlling roughly a quarter of the world's oil supply, and they have typically worked together, a huge group of different nations, to control oil production, to help control prices so that it doesn't fluctuate all over the place, and that in turn smooths out production, makes income more reliable, also reduces the likelihood that there's going to be a oil collapse around the price of the commodity, which has happened in the past. This in turn is something that has, in fact, actually caused the collapse of different countries in the past. And we've lived in kind of this bubble of relative stability. Now, of course, it is also a tool that has been used to oppress different people. It's not wholly a good thing. I don't want to be painting a rosy picture about what OPEC does or is. For those of you who don't know, it stands for the Organization of the Petroleum Exporting Countries. It incorporates a large number of different countries: Algeria, Republic of the Congo, Equatorial Guinea, Gabon, Iran, Iraq, Kuwait, Libya, Nigeria, Saudi Arabia, Venezuela. And up until a couple days ago, the United Arab Emirates. All right. And one thing that has been weighing heavily on different OPEC countries, it's twofold. Number one, a lot of these OPEC countries, you might notice, are actually very much affected by the Iranian closure of the Strait of Hormuz. Meaning that, their oil can't be transported out, and they represent a significant proportion of the global oil economy. And in fact, many countries almost wholly rely on the oil exported through the Strait of Hormuz in order to continue operating. Countries like South Korea, for example. And like entire countries are running on this energy. The closure of the Strait of Hormuz has put a huge economic pressure on the countries that are receiving the oil, but also on the countries that are exporting the oil. Because if they can't export it, then they can't get paid. And if the oil exports are the majority of what they export, then it turns out they're really kind of fucked right now. Like, imagine if, the United States just stopped generating revenue for, half the year, or even a quarter of the year. It would be devastating when it comes to the services that it could provide, the ability to do simple things like pay troops, pay employees, etc., etc., etc. It's a big problem. And not only that, you also have the overarching geopolitical reality, which is climate change is destroying the globe. And so a lot of these different OPEC countries have been trying to use the immense wealth generated by oil production in order to diversify their economies, in order to, generate new industries, invest in green infrastructure, etc. Because if they don't, when oil is inevitably phased out in the coming decades, out of necessity, they're going to be fucked. And they know this, right? And so part of the issue here for the United Arab Emirates is they don't really have a super diversified economy. Saudi Arabia has been making strides in that regard, but while still, of course, a lot of their revenue being generated by oil exports. But the UAE does not have that. And effectively, they announced a couple days ago that effective May 1st, they are pulling out of OPEC. Now, this is a big deal because the United Arab Emirates, despite being incredibly small, accounts for a non-negligible amount of global oil production. We're talking last I checked, it was quite a bit. UAE global oil production. 1 second. Let's just take a quick look here. UAE, one of the group's biggest producers. Let's see here. Global. That did not answer my question. Yes. The UAE produces about 3.1 million barrels of oils per day, which makes it one of the third or fourth largest producer of oil in the world. Oh, sorry, the 8th largest oil producer, and accounts for about 4% of the world's oil production. So that gives them an immense amount of leverage. It was a really big deal it accounts for almost, a sixth of the entire OPEC coalition's capacity. And so what we're looking at this point in time is a diminishing of the importance of OPEC, which might seem like a fairly abstract issue. But the reason the UAE is moving away from OPEC is because they want to set their own prices. They want to take advantage of variable prices in the oil market to sell or manufacture as much oil as possible so that they can make a bunch of money. It's all about the money, right? Now, why would they want to do that? Well, number one, because they have realized that the United States and its security protections largely have not stopped Iran from, raining down missiles and drones on the UAE. And that is presenting a huge problem from just like an internal security point of view, but also because they want that giant influx of cash. They want to use that to be able to diversify their economy, right? So this is considered to be in their best interest, at least internally within the UAE. And what it means for OPEC is that OPEC has a lot less leverage when setting prices, setting manufacturing quotas, et cetera, et cetera, et cetera, right? Now, how does this affect the United States? Well, in the short term, it's going to mean that your oil costs go wonky. In the past, day, oil prices have shot up 50 cents in response to this. But also, a more important and more subtle and more long-term effect is represented in the fact that OPEC and the deals that OPEC has with the United States have largely formed the foundation of what is called the petrodollar. It is the arrangement between the United States and Saudi Arabia that basically provides security guarantees for Saudi Arabian oil production and, by extension, a lot of OPEC's oil production as well. And that petrodollar is essentially the Saudi Arabian government saying, okay, we will only trade oil and price oil in US dollars. And what that means is, you have this globalization of the dollar. So all countries are doing business with the US dollar. They are trading internationally with the US dollar. And that in turn strengthens the use case of the US dollar. It means the US dollar is stronger. It retains its value more because more people use it. And more people are obtaining US dollars. This is something that has historically kept US soft power incredibly, incredibly strong. And it has allowed the United States to do a lot of different things that other countries might not be able to do with their economic power. An example of this is practices like quantitative easing, where the United States can effectively print money without a bunch of the historical downsides because of the mass adoption and the globalization of the dollar. This has been a source of strength for the U.S. economy, whether you recognize it or not. It's actually been a huge asset to the United States, both domestically and internationally. And one of the really interesting things, along with the UAE leaving OPEC, is the other day we had a story. Let me see if I can pull this up. Do I still have it prepped? Believe I do. Ooh, yes. So, number one, all of this is compounded by the fact that the president of the United States is just constantly lying and threatening and just generally acting like a fucking crazy person because his brain is melting and he's stupid as hell. He didn't have much of one to begin with. This is from yesterday. Iran has just informed us that they are in a state of collapse. They want us to open the Hormuz Strait as soon as possible as they try to figure out their leadership situation, which I believe they will be able to do. Thank you for your attention to this matter, President Donald J. Trump. There's no evidence that this is at all true. Nothing, no information out of Iran indicates any part of this is true. They are not begging for the Strait of Hormuz to be open. They have locked down the Strait of Hormuz. Like, this is just nonsense. This is like some, okay, Grandpa, let's get you back into the home shit. Like, it's not real. But more than that, like, Donald Trump is just straight up threatening to go, like, to start shooting at Iran again. Here he is on Truth Social at 3:05 in the morning. Iran can't get their act together. They don't know how to sign a non-nuclear deal. They better get smart soon. President DJT. No more Mr. Nice Guy. Picture of Donald Trump with a fucking assault rifle as villages get bombed behind him. Like, this is just insane. And what it does is it means that global leaders and global markets stop relying on what Donald Trump says, because it's just lies. It's just bravado. It's just propaganda. And what that then translates to is a great deal of, uncertainty, etc., etc., etc. So where is the certainty coming from in this conflict right now? It's coming from the Iranian government. Donald Trump, acting like an insane, crazy person who cannot be reasoned with, means that Iran, in this case, is the one that is being relied on for stability. What does that mean for oil production? Why am I even talking about all of this in relation to OPEC and the UAE, right? Well, part of the reason this is a really big deal is because the tolls that Iran has been charging these oil shipments has been in Chinese yuan. And what that is effectively doing is establishing an international system wherein oil is instead being traded not in the dollar, but in the yuan. All right? And if you have been listening to what I just said, the de-dollarization of the global economy is not going to be something that is going to be felt well. It's not going to be a good, positive thing for those of you who live within the United States. It is actively going to weaken the dollar, and it is actively going to lessen the influence the United States has abroad. Now, this is a great thing if you oppose U.S. imperialism, of course, but if you are focused on things like domestic policies, funding different domestic initiatives, being able to, actually address affordability concerns, this is actually going to be quite damaging. So China is the world's economic superpower now. That's not what I'm saying. What I am saying is that this is kickstarting a process that Iran was already engaged in. A lot of people don't necessarily know this, but one of Iran's main exports to China is about 95% of Iran's oil goes to China. China has an arrangement with Iran where they buy 95% of Iran's oil, historically. Pre-blockade, I'm not sure what it is now. And then China, after buying that oil, then distributes it to other countries around the world, right? Kind of acting as a middleman, getting around different sanctions on Iranian oil, et cetera, et cetera, et cetera. So what this is doing is bringing other countries within kind of that Strait of Hormuz area into that similar arrangement, where if they are not directly selling to China, they are still having to set the price of their oil and pay tolls according to their oil amounts in Chinese yuan. And so this all comes together to bring in several other countries into this arrangement. And that's going to lead to what's called de-dollarization, where the dollar is adopted by fewer and fewer countries, and presumably where China, where the United States has been gutting our soft power, U.S. aid, etc., all of the initiatives that actually helped people and fostered goodwill. China has had for a very long time its own soft imperialism, its own soft power initiatives. The Belt and Road Initiative is a big example of one. And what that means is the void left by a lack of U.S. soft power is going to be filled, probably, if I had to take a guess, by Chinese soft power. Okay? And I'm not trying to say here that China is the new superpower. We're all hail the petro yuan. That's not what I'm saying. But what I am saying is that there is a process that is likely beginning right now, especially with the way that the U.S. economy, the United States geopolitics are being run by the Trump administration, the broken agreements, the unreliability, the chaos being sown into the markets. It's creating a heavy incentive for other countries to not want to have anything to do with the United States for the foreseeable future. And so what I'm arguing here is not necessarily like, oh, the petrodollar is dead, the US dollarization of the world is gone, etc. But what I am trying to put forward here is that there is an ongoing and worsening state of US power abroad that is going to have pretty profound economic effects, not in the near term, but in the long term. I would say within 10 to 15 years, this instability is still going to be reverberating throughout the global economy and governing different decisions that other countries are making with respect to their economic arrangements. So that's kind of what I'm saying. This isn't necessarily you go on Blue Sky, you see a bunch of folks being like, "Oh, hail the petro yuan." That's not what's happening exactly, but we're seeing a process beginning that, if competent leadership isn't reasserted pretty quickly, is going to take on a life of its own. And what that might turn into in the future is anybody's guess, but it's going to result in a weakening of the US dollar abroad, the instability within the US domestic markets, etc. It's going to be a problem. David Cliff, thank you for the $10 super chat. I'm pro-Iran, but the petrodollar is a bit of outdated analysis, and China's economic system isn't ready to become the global reserve currency because you have to be a constant importer and many exports. And that's correct. The China's economic system isn't ready right now to become the global reserve currency. But they've been taking steps to try and build a foundation where it could. And I think that if you give them another 10, 15, 20 years, they might have that foundation in place. Especially as we see manufacturing shift from China and get outsourced to other countries around the world that have less wealth to throw around, right? So all I'm saying is, if you are someone who is invested in the U.S. economic system being able to function in the near term, this isn't great because of the effects on oil prices. If you are invested in the U.S. economy in the long term being relatively stable or a stabilizing effect on the global markets, Donald Trump may have blown a hole in the U.S. currency's ability to do that. So yeah, that's kind of where we're at. Insane how much China has profited by doing nothing and letting Trump destroy himself. I mean, that is kind of, yes, essentially. And I'm not like a China stan. I'm not here being like, yes, all hail the second coming of Mao. Like that I'm not that kind of girl. But I am here to tell you that, like, some very real economic damage has been done here by Iran simply locking down the Strait of Hormuz. And Donald Trump, every day that this goes on, is simply giving Iran more and more leverage and putting more and more pressure on OPEC countries, putting more and more pressure on this coalition that has historically sided with the United States. And like, ultimately, guys, buckle in. Make America Great Again is destroying the United States on a global scale. It's actually deeply ironic. So, all that being said, let me know your thought in the comments. Leave a like, subscribe, and also organize. Join your local Democrats. Make them more progressive. Kick out the Hakeem Jeffries on the local level, okay? Join your local DSA. Oh, I'm still sick. I'm sorry. God. Join your local DSA. Make it more effective. If you need help, you can join our Discord. We'll help you get set up with your local Dems and your local DSA. We'll walk you through it. We'll help you get the help and advice you need. We have different group chats dedicated to organizing Dems inside this community and also organizing DSA members inside this community. We want to give you the tools to make your community better, because when you make your community better, you also build the foundation to make your state better, to make your country better, and overall, the only way we get out of the deep level of fuckery we are all oppressed under right now is by organizing together and building a lasting movement and coalition. Full stop. There's a lot of bad shit that has happened today in the United States domestically. We'll talk about that later. The only way out, there is only one fucking way out, and that is by organizing. So, get involved with that. And last but not least, check out ImogeneOlivia.com, gender euphoric lingerie designed from the ground up for trans femmes. Also tested with cis men, cis women, non-binary friendos. Go check it out. It is non-tucking lingerie. It is sexy. It fits. Go check it out. ImogeneOlivia.com. Link down in the description. And let's keep on going. Woof. There we go. We did it. We made it through a Segi. We must learn from Hungary. We must. But also, I think that our future in the United States is different from Hungary, in that the real fight for the future of this country is organizing within the Democratic Party to effectively end the neoliberal establishment. Like, that is kind of the battleground right now. And I think that is our path forward. Our best path forward, anyway. All right. Now, folks, we've been going for about 40 minutes here. If you're getting anything out of the stream, hit that like button, hit that subscribe button, do the things. And here you go. Please support the stream so I can have my bones.
Go. Click a button. Click a button. Click a button. Click the goddamn button. Click a button. Click a button. Click a button. Click the goddamn button. Click a button. Click a button. Click a button. Click the goddamn button. Click a button. Click a button. Click a button. Click the goddamn button. Click a button. Click a button. Click a button. Click the goddamn button. Click a button. Click a button. Click a button. Click the goddamn button. Click a button. Click a button. Click a button. Click the goddamn button. Click a button. Click a button. Click a button. Click the goddamn button. Click button. Click button. Click button. Click button.
There we go. So more infighting. No. What I'm proposing is not infighting. It's winning. It's not like, what I'm proposing is looking out at the sea of people who are turning out to know kings and giving them an avenue to not just turn up for one day every few months, but instead to channel that into their local political establishment, to channel that rage, to channel that deep love of their community and their country into actual political action, like beyond just a protest in the streets, which is of course useful, not denying that. But what we need are all of those people flooding into their local Democratic meetings and seeing that these people were like voting in favor of corporate policies, show them the door. My proposal isn't like getting like 3 guys into a room to like get into a shouting match with like, the 80-year-old neolib who's in the chair position. My proposal is getting, 20 guys, 20 people into that room to dwarf the number of neolibs that are present. Because I gotta be honest with you, neolibs, they don't got people. Neoliberals aren't like turning up to like defend fucking the honor of Walmart on the local level. Like, neolibs are forged in the fires of political donations and corruption, The people at the community level, they're generally well-meaning folks who are either looking out for the community or looking out for themselves. And either way, you are more likely to be able to get folks like that on your side for policies that help the community, because policies that help the community also help the selfish people in your community. So all of that being said, organizing is the path forward. The only thing that stops corporate power is people power. Full stop. Neoliberals are just conservatives. But neoliberals are just conservatives that have access to the Democratic Party. That's the problem. And have entrenched themselves in leadership positions throughout the party. Hell yeah, YouTuber Grudge. This is exactly what I'm talking about. Our DSA stood up to change minds on city council. We showed up 2-1 to go against something that was paid for by big business. We got one person to delay and debate our side. Gotta show up with more people. Let's do 3-1. Let's do 3-1. Show up at the local Democratic meetings. Start shaming them, not just at the city council meetings. Start shaming them inside the Democratic meetings too. That's why I advocate for both. But that is an excellent turnout ratio. I may be labeled Liberal Dan, but I'm firmly support pushing every seat as far left as possible, which means putting leftist/DSA folks up to replace establishment Dems in safe districts. Hell yeah. A classical liberal, if you will, but not in the Dave Rubin sense. In the capital L liberal sense. I dig it. Spherical Man, thank you for the 105 streams in a row you've watched. My God. All right. I just wanted to point out that whoever mentioned Hungary, no, Hungary's not the model. Oh, God. Fuck. That person was very clearly talking about mass turnout and mass political participation. That's what enabled Hungary to unseat the entrenched dictatorial power. Like, yeah, the new party is Orban Light. It is an improvement, but it's not perfect. But the entire point of the Hungary strategy is just mass mobilization. That's... God, I've had this argument so many times. The entire point is just a massive turnout that cannot be stopped by, entrenched political power saying, nuh-uh. Like, we need mass mobilization. That's it. The strategy is just you overwhelm the fucks in power. That's it. Are people doomering over the SCOTUS ruling? We're not talking about the SCOTUS ruling until later tonight. Let's see. Let's see. What do we got? Oof. Streaming outside of my normal hours. Oof. Oof. All right. All right. I'm pointing out for whoever thinks just unseating a fascist in an election is for someone marginally less shit is good enough. No one here thinks that that is good enough. I don't know what audience you are projecting that I have, but like no one here is like, ah, yes, a conservative in power is a good thing. The entire comparison to Hungary is that Hungary has been the experimental melting pot for U.S. conservative policy and how to hold on to power while maintaining a veneer of democracy for like the last 15 years. The entire purpose of saying Hungary is a model for what we should do here is that what worked in Hungary politically beat the entire amalgamation of the conservative political machine that has been constructed here. And so when someone's saying like we need to use Hungary as a model, they're not saying we need to elect more conservatives. They're saying we need mass mobilization because we've seen in Hungary that mass mobilization can actually defeat these entrenched political power structures that favor conservatives. And yes, that is why I keep telling people to get involved, because liberals will absolutely go back to brunch and business as usual if we fail to take advantage of this moment, which is why I have been screaming from the rooftops for people to get involved in their local political scene for the last, year and a half, because it's the only thing that will actually stop the current fascist movement in the United States. The only thing that will stop it is taking advantage of this particular moment in time. It's not going to come again. All right. On that note, all right. Time to shit on Democrats. You guys ready? Also, if you've been enjoying the show, please do consider dropping those subs and donuts because you guys allow me to do this. And without your support, I could not do it. Let's see. Y'all ready for the segment? Always ready to shit on Dems? Hell yeah, you came to the right place. Oh, God. All right. So, folks, I want to talk about a tale of two Hakeem Jeffries. Okay? We've essentially hit a point in the American political system where, Hakeem Jeffries, leader of the Democrats in the House, has effectively created a kind of Smeagol Gollum type personality shift for himself. let's take a look at this in action real quick here, okay? Here is a 2.5 minute long tirade, I would even characterize it, from Hakeem Jeffries in front of reporters. Let's take a look.
If we get a turnout that mirrors 2018 or 2020. And that's exactly what we expect will happen.
Mr. Leader, I know you said you stand by your comments. At the same time, you have been the subject of threats as well. So with respect to this comment about maximum warfare, even if it's about redistricting, why not tone down the language here in this moment?
I think that what's interesting to me, as you pointed out, is that the so-called White House press secretary, who's a disgrace, she's a stone-cold liar, had the nerve to stand up there and read talking points being critical of statements all taken out of context that Democrats had made and didn't have a word to say about anything that MAGA extremists have said or done, including providing aid and comfort to violent insurrectionists here at this Capitol on January 6th, who brutally beat police officers. The president then pardoned those violent rioters, many of whom have gone back into communities across the country to reoffend. And as you pointed out, one of whom...
Can I just say, Hakeem Jeffries' speech and cadence are just so woefully ineffective at conveying, like, righteous anger. Like, it's like he's doing a bad Obama impersonation. Like, he's trying to channel kind of that Obama or oratory, you know, and he's just not nailing it. Yes, King, give us no energy whatsoever. Exactly.
Threatened to kill me. He said, kill the terrorist. Where did that language come from? What Republicans use that language? Why did that pardon MAGA extremists, violent insurrectionists, choose to use the language of terrorism directed at me when he threatened to kill me at an event? And so how can we take them seriously when they raise these partisan attacks and completely ignore the fact that a lot of folks, including Governor Shapiro, his home was attacked by an arsonist when he and his kids and wife were there. And this so-called White House press secretary wants to lecture America and lecture us about civility. Get lost, clean up your own house before you have anything to say to us about the language that we use.
Like, okay, number one, going on the offensive in this case, not necessarily a bad idea, but like, why aren't I getting notifications that you're live? Click the little bell icon on my YouTube channel. I don't know. I hear that helps. But that being said, like, say you are Hakeem Jeffries and you know you're about to go in front of the press to talk about how Caroline Leavitt effectively pointed a finger at you and said you were instilling violent rhetoric into Democratic voters, right? And I just want to throw out there that, like, you should get someone on your team, not to, like, look at what happened to Josh Shapiro's house. Like, just quote Donald Trump. Just, like, go grab, like, the boatloads and boatloads of quotes from him where he's, like, telling people to, like, beat up a guy. He's telling police officers to beat up suspects. He's telling them to beat the hell out of people. Where he's talking about how, like, different political figures should be killed. Like, you don't need to, like, go far afield here. You can quote the man directly. Hell, like a week ago, he was talking about wiping out an entire civilization. Telling, like, I don't know, should maybe be, like, the go-to here instead of just, like, well, clean up your own damn house. Like, I didn't want to say anything, but I gotta be honest with you. This fit is bad. Like, I see the vision, but also the shoes with this fit they make me mad. They make me mad in a way that I find difficult to articulate. But suffice it to say, those shoes do not go with this outfit. All right? Those shoes go with like a Mr. Rogers outfit, but that's not what he's wearing. I didn't even notice the shoes. Heinous. Yeah, like, it's not the biggest deal in there, but like, yeah, effectively, Hakeem Jeffries here is getting accused of tuning up the rhetoric because he talked about maximum warfare when it comes to like gerrymandering different states. And like, it's very clear that he's talking about redistricting efforts, right? So you got this Hakeem Jeffries who's like, yeah, we're going to redistrict hard. It's going to be maximum warfare. I'm not going to apologize for anything I say. I'm not going to do, you know what? Clean up your own damn house. If you're going to talk about rhetoric, got you, right? And then you have this statement from Hakeem Jeffries just a couple days ago. When asked if impeachment was a top priority, Jeffries said, "Of course not," during an appearance on Fox News Sunday. "I've made clear from the very beginning that our top priority is going to be to drive down the high cost of living. We believe in this country. You work hard, you play by the rules, you should be able to live an affordable life, a comfortable life, in fact, to live a good life. And that means a good paying job and good housing, good healthcare, good education for your children, and when it's all said and done, a good retirement." And like, this is the other side of Hakeem Jeffries. The simpering Smeagol side of Hakeem Jeffries. Where he's saying like, oh yeah, no, if we win the US House, we're not going to impeach Donald Trump. And like, you look out at No Kings protests, the largest protests in US history, and you see people like furious. They're like saying things I could never say on this platform, you know? The Debs and the Debras, you know, like they're all out there saying shit I could never say. They are furious. People are angry. You know, when I went out last time, I saw like, you know, 80, 90-year-old guys out there, like, holding signs, pissed as hell. And like, I do want to say that I understand that impeachment and removal can be a complicated political question, right? So I wanted to talk about it with a little bit of nuance. And by that I mean, is it a good idea, by the end of this rather, I want to answer the question, is it a good idea for Democrats to pursue impeachment? And first I'll go over like why Hakeem Jeffries might not want to do impeachment, right? Because number one of the advice all the consultants have given to Democrats from the very beginning is effectively let Donald Trump hang himself. You know, let him do his own thing. He will continue to plummet in the polls. You don't have to offer anything really, outside of like, you know, the possibility that things will be okay again sometime in the future, right? And there's a lot of merit to that argument, especially after if Democrats are able to retake the House and can effectively block legislation that Donald Trump would like to pass, right? So if that did happen, like Hakeem Jeffries is thinking to himself, to put you into the mindset, is effectively, if we win the House, we effectively end their ability to do anything for the next 2 years. And what would impeachment actually accomplish other than being a potentially deleterious circus that could actually harm like democratic perception in the lead up to any kind of general election in 2028. And so that's part of the issue there. The other part of the issue is that this statement was done on Fox News, right? So he's trying to appeal to a set of conservative voters to try and make himself seem like the adult in the room, to make Democrats seem like the adults in the room compared to the insanity that is MAGA Republicans, right? So those are kind of like the existing options. And I mean, you can even look back at history to like take a look at the Clinton impeachment, the 2 different Trump impeachments. You can look at the Nixon's impeachment, of course. You can look back at the history of how impeachment actually functions in this country as opposed to the idea or ideal of impeachment and removal, right? And so all of this being said, you have like this history where impeachment hasn't really acted as a removal mechanism ever in the history of America, right? And that's that is all, I think, what is going on when Hakeem Jeffries and Democratic leadership are thinking about this issue. But I really think that all of this boils down to 2 different things for me, right? And this is my case for impeachment. Number 1, you need to demonstrate accountability. You need to be able to say, hey, what this person has done is, I mean, it did work with Nixon. Well, it worked with Nixon because Nixon resigned rather than be the first president actually removed by the Senate. Historically, no polarization has ever reached that level. Doesn't mean it couldn't, especially with Donald Trump, but considering the layout of the Senate right now, barring like some kind of massive overperformance by Democrats in the midterms, like if Democrats control the House and the Senate, this all becomes very easy. Impeach him and remove him, But all that being said, my case is there needs to be accountability. Donald Trump is somebody who has acted so far beyond the pale, so far beyond our norms, broken so many different systems, committed so many different war crimes. The damage he has done, both domestic and abroad, is so overwhelmingly obvious that for us to be able to continue with a shared national schema, I think that impeachment is required, especially if Democrats have the ability to do it. Democrats should impeach him. And not only should Democrats impeach him, Democrats, if they are only in control of the House, should just be introducing articles of impeachment nonstop. Make it into a 2-year-long nonstop circus. My mind keeps going back to what Congress did with the KKK, specifically calling up countless African Americans from the South to testify about what the KKK was doing, what the effects of the political system in the South were on them. And by doing this, Congress was able to shine a light on what was happening, to make it into a story, and ultimately culminated in the ability of the United States government to crush, by and large, the KKK. In a similar vein, Democrats need to reckon with the fact that there needs to be accountability, but also if they have the ability to file nonstop articles of impeachment, because again, this man has committed more crimes, like multiple crimes every day under his watch. You have so much fodder for impeachment against Donald Trump. You could just introduce articles of impeachment every single day for the full 2 years. And what winds up happening here is that I think that what you do is you basically are able to manufacture the story. Not from scratch, not from nothing, but you're able to make the case to the American public that, hey, this guy is bad and has hurt not just, abstract ideas of Americans, but like you, has hurt your neighbors, has committed unspeakable war crimes, has been an active agent acting against the United States' best interest the entire time. And I think that this is a good idea, not just for Democrats, because it could create a story that has the potential to move the American public in a way that I think is positive, but also because it shows some degree of accountability, that Democrats are willing to actually fight, okay? And on top of that, because right now, oh my God, the Democratic base is hungry for fighters. They want fighters. It's why you have this tale of two Hakeem Jeffries. It's why Hakeem Jeffries is getting up there and pretending like he's going to put up a huge fight. And then you have the Hakeem Jeffries that's like, no, of course we're not going to do impeachment, right? And the other aspect of this is that the MAGA movement, the conservative base, has so utterly been integrated into the Donald Trump cult that this extends to not just being a repudiation of Donald Trump, but a repudiation of MAGA politics, a repudiation effectively of fascism. And you can use these impeachment proceedings to lay out that case, to lay it out in a way that is going to consistently be put in front of the American people in every major news network in the country. And I think that that is ultimately a good thing, because anyone that is trying to run to replace Donald Trump in the Republican Party is going to be someone who is intimately tied up with the MAGA movement, who is intimately tied to Donald Trump. Let Donald Trump become the millstone around the neck of the entire Republican Party, the entire Republican apparatus from top to bottom that has bent the knee. Let these impeachment proceedings for 2 years be adding not just one millstone, but millstone after millstone after millstone around the neck of this entire rancid movement that has sought to destroy American democracy. So, all of this being said, the case for impeachment, in my mind, the case for Democrats, even if they don't control the Senate, even if they don't have the votes in the Senate, to do this is overwhelming, because I'm going to tell you something else. As it gets closer and closer to the general election, Republicans are going to get more and more desperate to distance themselves from Donald Trump, because his era of cult of personality will be coming to an end, and they will all know that. They all know he's taken us into the least popular war in all of U.S. history. Sorry, still sick. They all know that he is sending... oh, God. That he has been duped by Israel. He's been convinced by Benjamin Netanyahu to engage us in this war, that he's effectively aided in genocide and ethnic cleansing campaigns across the Middle East at the behest of Israel, that he is harming us internationally, harming people internationally, harming Americans domestically, going after our friends and neighbors with masked secret police. All of this is going to catch up. There is a bill coming due. And that is why I think nonstop impeachment should be the strategy. Oh God, sorry. This is a way to begin a process of accountability, not just for Donald Trump, but across the entire Donald Trump administration. And hopefully also set a precedent for accountability to be, the name of the game, not just for Republicans, but also for Democrats. We should be holding Democrats accountable for their war crimes, Democrats accountable for their grifts, Democrats accountable for their crimes against humanity and the general public. And I think that there is an opportunity here, if we have Democratic leadership with courage, or at least who capitulate to public pressure, for us to chart a new path for our country and to build something better than what came before. So that is my case for why Democrats should actually pursue impeachment. I do not think the cowardice that Hakeem Jeffries displayed here should become the accepted wisdom of the Democratic Party. And whatever opportunities we have to try and force the neoliberal establishment into a corner, to force their hand and do this, I think we should take it. Okay? Because ultimately, Hakeem Jeffries is not the person who gets to decide whether or not articles of impeachment are filed. Any Democrat in the House of Representatives can do that. And if there's a majority of Democrats, those votes can happen all the damn time. And eventually, someone as cowardly as Hakeem Jeffries will capitulate to those votes. Because he knows which way the wind is blowing. Because he's a coward. And that's what cowards in DC have to do. So, and frankly, if he doesn't do that, the current way the wind is blowing, he's going to lose his spot. So, we'll see how it goes. Anyway, if you got anything out of this, hit the like button, subscribe, leave a comment. Comments longer than 8 words really help in the algorithm. And get organized, folks. Join your local Dems. Join your local DSA. It is vitally important that we organize politically. And frankly, I don't even care if you join your local Dems or local DSA. I just know that you all have local Dems and local DSA to join. It is a political organization that you have access to. And we need to come into organizing with one another as much as humanly possible. So make your local Democrats more effective. Okay? Make your local DSA more effective. Make your Dems more progressive. Make your DSA more radical. Organize with local labor. Do the things, because, guys, when you organize locally, you can stop AI data centers. You can stop ICE from operating alongside your local police. You can join in work stoppages. You can help support folks in your community going on strike. May Day. National strike. Great day to go out and network with fellow people in your community who are engaging in political activism. We all need to start getting involved. May Day is an excellent place to start. Go do the things, okay? But if you need help joining your local Dems, if you need help joining your local DSA, we can help you do that. You can use Discord in any of our chats, and we'll get you hooked up in the Discord with your local Dems or your local DSA. And we also have some internal chats where you can talk and ask questions and strategize with how to radicalize your local Dems and make your DSA more effective. So do the things. All right. And all that being said, last but not least, check out ImogeneOlivia.com, gender euphoric lingerie designed from the ground up for trans femmes, but also tested with cis men, cis women, non-binary folks. People like it. It's sexy. It's non-tucking lingerie. And, or for anyone who just wants a little bit of extra space in their gusset, go check it out. ImogeneOlivia.com. It's also very sexy. ImogeneOlivia.com. Link down in the description. Let's keep on going. Whew. Hell yeah.
People are aroused. I haven't seen people so aroused in a very, very long time.
God. All right. Ugh, my makeup got a little bit off. It's fine. Genuine question, would we be better off with Vance as president in terms of what he would do with power as opposed to Trump? I'm concerned a more competent fascist could be worse. If Democrats control the House and the Senate in such a way that they are able to impeach and remove Donald Trump, then I think any threat from J.D. Vance is effectively neutered, especially with the fact that J.D. Vance wants to try and be president again. And I think he'd be very dangerous as a president from the get-go, especially with a Republican majority. I don't think he's as dangerous as I don't think he's as dangerous as a lot of people believe in the current moment, since the majority of Donald Trump's power comes from his cult of personality. And let's be very clear, this man cannot command the cult of personality.
Oh, look! It's Couch Fucker! You gonna fuck a couch, buddy?
Right here. Do not go past
Go fuck a couch, J.D. Vance! Go fuck a couch!
Honestly, I'm mostly just really disappointed with the American public that more people aren't shouting, "Hey, it's Couch Fucker!" every time J.D. Vance shows his face in public. You know? Like, this guy lacks so much charisma that the claim that he fucks couches, the joke that he fucks couches has actually stuck. And it's honestly deeply funny to me. I just don't think he has the juice to actually be someone who wins office on the national level and can wield power like Donald Trump has. I love that you periodically show this vid every time we talk about JD Vance. I mean, how could I not? How could I not? It's such a stupid thing to get branded with. It really, really is, you know? Honestly, if they had just unleashed Tim Walz to continue calling JD Vance a couch fucker during the 2024 election, Kamala Harris would have won. Can we get it on the soundboard? Oh, that would be great. We should get it on the soundboard. When was this from? This was from August of last year. And I do want to reiterate, this is just a video of JD Vance, Stephen Miller, and Pete Hegseth walking into a Shake Shack. Like, this isn't even like a big event. This is just them going out for some fast food and like getting heckled mercilessly for it. All right, I do need to pee. I will be right back. And when I come back, we are going to continue shitting on Democrats. So don't go anywhere, folks. BRB.
Rat is this. The rats are all like this. The rat goes like this. So the rat's like this. The normal rat is like this. That's the normal rat. Like this, like this. It sniffs. It's like this for quite a while. He's like this. And then maybe he sniffs. You are now a normal rat. Rat is this. Normal rat's like this. That's a normal rat. 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 Like this, like this, like this, like this, like this, that's a normal rat. Like this, like this, like this, like this, sniffs. This, like this, like this, like this, like this, that's a normal rat. Like this, like this, like this, like this, sniffs. Point the wire, 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 point the wire. You are now a normal rat. Normal rat's like this. That's 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 a normal rat. Like this, like this, like this, like this, like this, that's a normal rat. Like this, like this, like this, like this, sniffs. This, like this, like this, like this, like this, that's a normal rat. Like this, like this, like this, like this, sniffs. Point the wire, 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 point the wire. You are now a normal rat. Like this, like this, like this, like this, like this, that's a normal rat. Like this, like this, like this, like this, sniffs. This, like this, like this, like this, like this, that's a normal rat. Like this, like this, like this, like this, sniffs. Point the wire, 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 point the wire. You are now a normal rat.
Hello, I've returned. Whew. Folks, we have about maybe 45 minutes, okay? So I'm going to do my best to get through this particular segment as quick as possible. And also, just want to say, if you've been enjoying the show, please hit that like button, hit that subscribe button, and also consider dropping those subs, donos, memberships, super chats, etc., because we have fallen a little bit short today. We've gotten like 7 or 8 subs today. Oof. But it's all good. We'll get to that goal eventually, folks. Peter Thiel knows that actively did the Project 2025 have turned against Trump, getting Trump impeached so they can install JD Vance, as we already know. That's not a thing that's happening right now. They might really want to do that, but no. It is not the main thrust. It is not the main thrust of what is happening right now. I do believe that a lot of wealthy people want Donald Trump the fuck gone because he's bad for business, right? Just ask farmers who need fertilizer, you know? But one, there's no mechanism for impeachment to actually go forward right now with MAGA in Congress, even with all of Peter Thiel's money. Also, like, I do think it is possible for JD Vance to...
Main thrust.
Hell yeah, Salmon Moose. Thank you for the 10 tier 1 subs. Hell yeah. Thank you very goddamn much. I just think that, like, once we are past the midterms, the entire equation of like, would JD Vance be a scarier president? It totally changes. JD Vance effectively cannot do anything without Congress. And he'd just be 2 years of a lame duck. And honestly, I don't think even JD Vance wants that. Like, JD Vance wants to be elected president, wants to actively have like political power. He doesn't want to sit there as a lame duck for 2 years. If anything, that just makes him look like even more of a loser. And I think he's aware of that. All right. All right. Let's get through this. Okay. We have time. I think we have... We will have time if we speed this up slightly. So I'm going to do that.
Ken Martin, thanks for doing this.
Nope, that's too fast. This should be slow enough. Uncle Simric, thank you for the $10 super chat.
Everyone, did you exercise today? The fascist did. Why haven't you?
Hell yeah. I'm sick. That's why I haven't exercised today. Okay. Here we go. So, wait a minute. Boop. Also, Northern Fox, thank you for the gifted membership. Very much appreciated as well. All right. Here we go. So, folks, we need to talk about the fact that the head of the DNC is currently acting as if he's been roasted alive by going on one of the safest possible podcasts for him to go on to, Pod Save America. And I think it's funny. I also think it is very telling about how out of touch right now Democratic leadership actually is. From the general public, from the general electorate, etc. And the fact that this line of questioning is utterly alien to him and is seemingly unanswerable, it's genuinely baffling. I was watching this today earlier, and I was just like, I don't even know what word I would use. Aghast at the incompetence. Like, Ken Martin is supposedly a pretty savvy political figure. He ran the DNC. He ran like the DFL in Minnesota for quite some time, and he did it in a manner that was fairly effective. But he has utterly failed to live up to the current moment. And where does he place the blame? Let's take a look, shall we?
Ken Martin, thanks for doing this.
Yeah, thanks for having me back on, John. It was great to see you the other night at the Grindr party of all parties. It was amazing.
I know, I wish.
What a way to open that up. What a way to open that up, Ken. I'm pretty sure Ken is straight, but I also don't think he has an awareness of what is implied by saying, I loved seeing you at the Grindr party last night, because that, I don't know. It's just funny to me. It's just funny as hell.
I hadn't run out of alcohol by the time I arrived, but that's neither here nor there. Quick bit of context for listeners. This all came about because you expressed some frustration about criticism of the DNC coming from our direction. So I appreciate you coming on to talk about it directly. I'll just say up front, we share the goal of making sure Democrats win everywhere, especially the White House in 2028. I also very much understand.
Also, again, like, imagine going up against Pod Save America, and you're like, you're in the same room as Pod Save America. Pod Save America, they're not leftists. They are liberal. I would put them as like slightly more to the left than like the Bulwark, but like that's not saying much in like the Democrat context.
and you've got one of the hardest jobs in politics that you took at an especially tough time for the party. But I do want to press you on some specific things because I think the stakes are too high not to. Does that sound fair?
Sounds great, John. Thank you. Appreciate it.
Sounds great, John. I love this. I'm really looking forward to you roasting me. Yeah.
So I want to start with the 2024 autopsy, which you call an after-action review. When you won the chairmanship in February of 25, you criticized the DNC's refusal to release their 2016 autopsy as exactly what not to do. You said, quote, "Was there any utility in doing that?" And then promised your 2024 autopsy would be different. Your exact quote was, "Of course it will be released." Why did you change your mind on that?
Well, look, I mean, what I said all along, even when I ran for this position, is that we were going to focus on the things that will help us win the upcoming election, right? Making sure that we learn the right lessons that could help inform our victories. And that's what we've done. We said this when we sent out the press release back in November saying we weren't going to release the report. We were going to actually keep our focus on those lessons. And we released those lessons. We continue to do that. And it's important for me, instead of navel gazing and looking backwards and trying to relitigate 2024, I don't know about you, John, but I don't have a time machine. I don't think you do. No one does. So we can't change what happened in 24. The only thing we can do is
like, well, you know, the only we can't look backwards. We can only go forwards. I don't know. Familiar with the phrase, those who something are doomed to repeat it? I can't remember the first part of that phrase. Something about remembering the past, maybe. Those who refuse to remember the past. I don't know. If only I had some kind of book to tell me what people said in the past, or some kind of, I don't know, report or autopsy even to tell me what people said in the past.
is actually change what happens in the future, including the 26 election cycle, 28 and beyond. That means we do need to learn the lessons. We need to make sure they help inform our decisions that we're making. And we've been releasing those. We released them just a couple months ago in our playbook, which if you want to look at that, go to dnc.org/playbook, and you can get an example of some of the lessons. We've been releasing them with our donors and with activists and party leaders. We've been talking about what those lessons are, and we've actually been putting those lessons into action. And so it's not completely accurate to say that we didn't release that. We're
Okay, I just have to say, this guy's a lying sack of shit. Like, just straight up. He promised numerous times, especially during his election, that he would release the 2024 autopsy. The idea that like the kind of the breakdown of why the Kamala Harris campaign lost, right? Part of the reason you do this is so that other candidates, other people who are looking to run can look at that and, you know, adjust their strategies accordingly. It is important to understand what happened, what internal data the DNC has about what happened in order to appropriately engage with the political field as it currently exists. Otherwise, people start running under false ideas of where the public actually is. And that's interesting to me because this guy over and over again promised to release this report. And when he's asked about it, he's like, well, it's not entirely accurate that we haven't released the report. We've been releasing lessons from it. But that's not the report. And if you aren't releasing the report, then how can anyone trust what is in your lessons? You're just straight up being you're just straight up lying is what you're doing.
keeping our focus is on the lessons that can actually help us win.
But on this show in August, you told me this about releasing the review, quote, "We have to do it to give people who invested so much time, energy, and money a sense of what happened and why we lost."
Correct.
Especially why we lost. So what changed between
August of last year?
December. I understand there are lessons, but those are not the full report. Why not release the full report? What's in the report that you wouldn't want
well, first off,
to publicize?
there's no smoking gun in the report, and I know that's what everyone's so eager to learn. I mean, the smoking gun. Guess what, John?
But if there's no smoking gun, why wouldn't you just release it then?
Because we want to keep the focus on the lessons. Because what?
I'm sorry, the normal guy energy from the pod John here is just it's like a brick wall to this man. He's just well, okay, so if there's nothing there, why aren't you releasing the report? What if it's just so boring and just so not such a non-story? Why not release it? And he's just like, well, we want to keep the focus on the lessons from the report. Then release the report, because everyone's wondering why you're not releasing it. And I gotta be honest, no one is reading the DNC lessons right now and believing them because you haven't released the report.
What ends up happening here is that people, of course, want to weaponize the report in a way to look backwards, to point fingers, place blame in a way that actually doesn't keep us focused on the upcoming election.
The purpose of the report is to understand what didn't work. The reason you wouldn't want to, like, post that report seems to me that what didn't work might implicate some pretty powerful people that you don't want to piss off, right? Like, say, major donors, or that lobbied for specific talking points in the campaign, for example. And, like, it doesn't keep us focused on the upcoming election. It does, because it informs the upcoming election. It allows people to make better decisions. Yeah, like, honestly, it all comes across as a gigantic effort to try and, like, shield APAC or shield various special interest lobbying organizations, like, I don't know, Crypto Bros, or like Uber's lobbying on Kamala Harris's economic policies. Like, I don't know, seems kind of like there are a lot of different things that would stack up that you wouldn't want to, like, piss off the powers that be. But, like, this is so much worse. Like, trying to obfuscate like this makes the story so much worse. And it makes, like, I gotta be honest, the 2024 APAC, 2024 DNC autopsy wasn't really on my radar until he got super fucking weird about it. Just quietly release the report. This entire story doesn't happen. Yeah, it's so goddamn stupid. Lessons about what? What are the lessons about? That is a great question, Jazz Dog. It's the kind of question that one would expect the head of the DNC to be able to elaborate on. I wonder if he will. He doesn't.
But instead, the navel gazing of focusing backwards actually takes us backwards. We're 100.
That's what autopsies are for. Autopsies are for taking us backward and understanding what happened. That's what an autopsy does.
89 days from this election, John.
Yeah, the answer is Gaza. The answer is, like, people didn't like that Kamala Harris was complicit with the genocide in Gaza. People didn't like that Kamala Harris abandoned trans people. People didn't like that Kamala Harris's, like, economic policies, neoliberal economic policies, weren't popular and didn't get a bunch of traction. And, like, frankly, that's it. The reason you wouldn't want to release a report about that is because it's going to piss off all of your major donors, or a huge section of them. And, well, I think the Podjohn here does a really good job connecting that particular issue in kind of a sideways way to what's going on within the DNC.
What we don't need to be focused on is actually relitigating 2024. What we need to do is learn the lessons of 24 and the years preceding that can help.
Also, we don't need to be relitigating what happened in 2024, says the guy who's representing the faction of the Democratic Party that has been nonstop complaining about Bernie bros and, like, a lack of Joe Rogan on the left while persecuting Hassan Piker. Did you know they're actually introducing, like, legislation to try and condemn Hassan? It's insane. It's absolutely fucking insane and infuriating. And folks in Ken Martin's corner are absolutely going to go for that to try and make themselves seem like the specialist, gooderist boys. It's infuriating.
Us win this upcoming election. That's why we've been releasing them. That's why we've been focused in on actually putting those lessons into action. And there's nothing that I told you in August that is inaccurate. We've been sharing those lessons out with donors. We've been talking about this with party leaders and activists and others and organizations and campaigns. It's no surprise to, and I get it. I get why people are obsessed with it, because there's various groups and organizations and people who think there's some sort of smoking gun in there. Guess what, Sean? In the third closest presidential election in the last 100 years, everything mattered. There's nothing that didn't impact that election.
Also, John, are you aware that everything matters? And so if we put out the autopsy, it would just show that everything mattered. So you don't need the autopsy because everything matters. fuck, this guy. I cannot believe how bad he is at this. You know, I had a little bit of hope when he initially got elected and like announced that he was going to tour the country and like listen to working class folks. But now that he's like finished up that tour and is just like absolutely shitting himself in front of the camera at every opportunity, it's crazy.
Why did you spend the money going to 50 states, doing all these interviews, doing all this stuff?
If regular liberals make you mad, you should watch TikTok liberals. I have no interest in doing that. The reason I'm watching this is because Ken Martin is in charge of the entire DNC. And also the Pod Johns. You know, they're all right. They're way too liberal conservative for my take, but you know, I'll take them in a pinch. And this is a pinch.
If and doing this report in the first place, if you weren't going to release the full results of it, like why? I don't get why just you and some of the senior DNC people get to see it, but not most of the DNC members who are, you know, state party chairs. I mean, you know, more than a dozen DNC members told.
Oh no, they're not gonna like silence Hassan fresh out of the asylum. They're gonna like do like the legislative equivalent of do you condemn Hassan? Kind of like the inverse of like do you support Charlie Kirk? You know, like a kind of vote like that. That's what they're wasting their time with.
NBC just the other week they want it released, including Congresswoman Delia Ramirez and North Carolina Democratic Party Chair Anderson Clayton. And Anderson said, quote, "Genuinely, what did you all find that we did not?"
This is exactly why the DNC chose this guy. It's not as if we, the voters, had a say in who we wanted. We actually came fairly close to being able to elect not this guy. What's his face? The guy who's now challenging a lot of different Democrats around the country. He's got his own like outfit that's doing that. I can't remember his name right now. He survived one of the mass shooters. David Hogg. Yes, David Hogg. You know, David Hogg was big in the DNC and like his coalition just didn't quite clinch it, unfortunately. But Ben Wickler would have been great. God, we could have got Ben Wickler.
How did you answer that question?
What we found is the things we've been telling them, both Anderson, Delia, other folks who have concerns about it. We've shared all of the lessons with them, right? And so again, I think, John, the reality is you're proving my point here, right? People are obsessed about this in a way that continues to turn them away from wanting to focus on the lessons and instead thinking that there's some sort of smoking gun in here that's going to give them the one single reason that Kamala Harris lost the election, or the one single thing that we should have done differently that's going to actually help us win in the future. There is no one single thing that cost Kamala the election. There is no one.
Do you remember that leaked call where Ken Martin cried about David Hogg making things too hard for him? Yeah. Ken Martin, you know, I apologize on behalf of Minnesota for not sending you guys our best.
One single thing that we can do to help us win the upcoming election. There's a number of lessons for sure that will help us win in 26 and beyond. But again, I understand what you're saying, John. We'll just have to agree to disagree on this.
What lessons? Which ones? You know, the lessons.
Because, you know, we have already started to put those lessons into action. I'm proud of the results of what we've seen over the last year and a half since I've been elected. We have significant wind at our back, and we're going to continue to move forward. And we're going to continue to put those lessons we've learned into action, and I hope others will start to do the same.
Yeah, I'm just trying to figure out, because it certainly doesn't seem like anyone's looking for one single silver bullet, because it's a 200-page report. So I feel like on a 200-page report, there's a lot of lessons for everyone to take. And if you're going to operationalize it, then I think the question is, like, are you operationalizing it on behalf of people who didn't actually get to see the report? So, like, do they know what they're agreeing to when they operationalize lessons from the report if they haven't been able to read the report?
The answer to that is no.
John, you're proving the point.
What's the point?
I mean, the point is the obsession on the report without actually focusing in on the lessons.
Why should we believe that the lessons are derived from the report if we can't see the report? Trust in the Democratic Party is at like an all-time low right now. Why on earth should anyone take it at face value that what you're telling them is the truth? You got to demonstrate good faith to build up like a reputation, to build up like faith in your project. And like, frankly, Ken Martin and the DNC have not done that.
If people believe there's some sort of magic silver bullet in there that's going to solve all of our ills at the Democratic Party.
That's not what people are saying. People are just saying you need to learn from history so you don't repeat it, you ding-dong. Like, that's all they're saying. You need to learn from history. Otherwise, you're condemned to repeat it. It's not complicated.
And I understand.
I don't think there's going to be a magic silver bullet, though.
Who
Who thinks that? No one thinks it's good. No one thinks there's a magic silver bullet.
Oh man, Podjon, you almost told him it was a straw man. You should start online debate broing him. Do it. Start meeting him in the marketplace of ideas, flipping over the marketplace carts.
It's a 200-page report. You interview people in 50 states. You spent a lot of donor money on it. I think
We
people are
didn't spend a
probably
lot of
wondering,
donor
like,
money on it. We didn't spend a lot of donor money on that, and that's just inaccurate.
Look, there's no one silver bullet in that report, but there are many silver bullet points. We used a silver-colored font.
You spent a couple $100,000 on it, right?
No, we did not.
It was a free report?
We did not spend a couple $100,000 on that. The person and people who were involved in it were not paid to do this work. And so I would just say that.
This baffles me. I'm sorry. You got volunteers to make this report for you? It's a 200-page, supposedly well-researched report. They did it for free? Someone wrote you an in-depth in-depth autopsy on the 2024 election, citing facts and data for free. I don't believe you. I think that's a lie.
That's inaccurate, John. So I'm not sure where you would even get that number. And so did you have some sort of record that shows we spent any money on that?
I've seen reporting that you did spend money on it. Yeah, for sure.
Okay, well, that's inaccurate. Okay, the person we asked to do this is an unpaid advisor to the DNC. And so I appreciate, listen.
The person we asked to do this is an unpaid advisor to the DNC. What that sounds like to me, and I don't know about you guys, and I don't have additional information that you guys don't have, that sounds like political corruption. Like you got like a political consulting firm that is going to demand like some kind of contract in the future, or like some kind of quid pro quo arrangement, or is offering to do this report in such a way that frankly, if anyone outside of the upper leadership of the DNC saw it, they would cry foul and claim that it's fucking lies. Lena Langton, thank you for the $5 super chat. It's not what's the reason, it's what are you hiding, Martin? You're acting guilty. You look untrustworthy. People on the left hate untrustworthiness. It's not even people on the left. It's like even the people who are showing up for No Kings protests, they abhor the lies that Donald Trump is spreading constantly. And what they want is a truth-based movement they can believe in that they think will actually make things better. Like, you've got even like the Deborahs and the Daves who've taken to the street and are holding the signs up, and they're out there angry as hell every day. And like, they aren't a fan of these lies either. And they can tell. And I know that they can tell because the Podjons can tell, okay? If the Podjons even are acting with some skepticism here, Ken Martin is fucked when it comes to the actual Democratic base.
I appreciate where it's coming from, John, but let's just trade in facts on this, right?
Maybe Third Way volunteered to do it, but that's kind of what I'm saying, right? Like, if someone volunteered to do this report for the DNC, it's not out of the goodness of their heart. They're looking to either manipulate the data, or they're looking to buy a political favor or monetary favor down the road. Those are literally the only two reasons.
The reality is we did talk to, hundreds of people. It was an exhaustive exercise to really get at what are those key lessons. And I want to be very clear. There's nothing that changed from what I said on the campaign trail to now, which is
Jess, I just talked about that, yeah.
You were on the campaign trail and you talked about definitely releasing an autopsy and criticized the DNC for not releasing an autopsy in 2016. In your mind, you thought, I'm going to do one, but only release certain lessons and not the full report?
No, what I said at the time is exactly.
You've literally made a name for yourself by critiquing the previous lack of transparency from the DNC, and now you're doing the exact same shit.
What I've been saying now, which is we have to focus on the things that help us win the future elections. We have to focus on those lessons. We have to do this exercise, by the way, of conducting this analysis so that we actually learn what happened, not just in 24, but in the years preceding that, John. And so that's where our focus is. I mean,
yeah. So why can't people outside of DNC leadership see this report and also learn from the past?
You know, the challenge is, you know, think about this as an executive summary of a, you know, like you said, a 200-page document. And I think what
that's great. Release the executive summary alongside the report. It's not complicated.
We've put together and what we learn, we are sharing with people. So they have full insight into what we actually need to course correct on as we go into these final 189 days left and into the future. So again,
are you going to release, you mentioned an executive summary. Are you going to release an official executive summary? Make that public?
We've been releasing that, John. That's what I've been saying.
Why don't we all write our own anonymous reports and partially submit them to the DNC with a list of lessons?
Love it. I love that spirit, Samantha. Hey, Dragonfly. It can do nothing, Martin. Yeah, apologies from the Minnesota contingent.
You said lesson. There's the Democratic playbook, the playbook that you said you can sign up for in DNC for sure. But I know that you know, NBC News said that before Easter about.
I love that his argument is, well, the lessons we've been releasing are the actual executive summary. That's not what you're. That's not what that is. That's not what that means.
Month ago, you told DNC officers.
Yeah, he is not Knuff.
On a call to expect an executive summary in short order. Officers on that call told NBC they still haven't received one. You told a North Carolina DNC member who was drafting a resolution to force the report's release that a summary was forthcoming, and he backed off based on that promise. So you've been saying in coming weeks on the executive, like when can people expect an accurate
we've already been
summary?
Sharing that with a number of folks, and we'll continue to share it with folks.
Oh yeah, I've seen the phone call of him crying. It's hilarious and also deeply depressing.
Including the DNC and other people. The reality is we're not hiding the ball on this. We have been.
You're literally hiding the report. You're literally hiding the ball. There's no other way to frame it. Like, you can't be like, yes, we're not going to give you your ball back, child, but here are several pictures of the ball from different angles. Trust us, we have the ball. It is safe. And play with these pictures instead. It's exactly the same as having your ball. Like, this is insane. This is ludicrous nonsense.
Sharing those things out. Happy to get you over, you know, what we have been sharing out, John. The reality is that there's no smoking gun here. And as much as people would like to keep focusing,
then release it.
On those pieces, what they're ignoring is that we're sharing out the lessons. We have been incorporating those, and we have actually been putting those lessons into action, which I'm most proud of. Look, we're 189 days away from this election. You said on the top end of this that what you care most about is helping us to.
We're 189 days away, so it'd be an excellent time to release the full report, so that, you know, the people running in the midterms can learn from it, and also the people who are planning to run in 2028 could learn from it. Yeah, like, exactly, Dragonfly. Like, no one has asked for these lessons. They asked for the goddamn report so they can make their own takeaways from it. They don't need to be spoon-fed goddamn lessons. They want the goddamn report.
Win elections? Okay, let's focus on the elections coming up, John. You know what?
Yeah, well, I mean, I want to focus on winning them. I feel like an autopsy on what went wrong and when we lost the popular vote in all those states in 2024, and figuring out what went wrong based on a big report is pretty important for everyone to know.
Yeah. I've spent my entire career, John, as you know, since 1990, winning elections up and down the ballot, both in Minnesota and across the country.
I appreciate that.
And I'm happy to talk to you about winning elections. If you want to actually talk about elections, I'm happy to talk to you about those. But again,
doesn't sound like you're happy to talk about them, because we're talking about the upcoming elections and the need for a public autopsy report about what went wrong in 2024, which would, you know, help people win elections in the future.
And you're proving the point that I think many folks, I think, are frustrated in this party, which is people want to turn backwards to relitigate the 2024 election, to point fingers, to place blame, to
I think you want to learn lessons, like you said.
Well, listen, to win elections, if they want to win elections.
Also, if one of the lessons is somebody fucked up, then they should get blamed for that. I don't know. It's called personal responsibility. People should take some.
I'm happy to share what we learn in.
Yeah, like the reason that Ken Martin is like clearly afraid to release this is because there is something deeply inconvenient to like centrist establishment Democrats that they do not want public. And I don't know if I have a feeling it's Gaza. I have a feeling it's, the economic policies. I have a feeling that maybe it is the abandonment of trans people and throwing minorities under the bus. But it'd be really great to not just have feelings and instead to have just the goddamn report.
In the way of the lessons on why we lost the 24 election and the years preceding that. Happy to share those. We're sharing those out with everyone. But again, this conversation doesn't help us actually win elections. All it does is continue to turn people inward. What we need to do is focus on the work we need to do in the 189 days. Learn the lessons. And I'm happy to go over what those lessons are. I'm happy to go over them with anyone who wants to talk about them, John. But what I'm not going to do is release a report that turns everyone backwards, trying to either point fingers or place blame, and actually ignore their own responsibility in helping us to fix the situation. The reality is we all have.
Ooh, that's another good theory, Dragonfly. Like basically the massive amount of money that got spent on consultants that like practically bankrupted the party, all basically moved the needle not a goddamn inch. Yeah, I bet that that's a big part of it too, Because some of these consulting firms, they're also donors.
Responsibility. Yourself, myself, everyone, in actually learning those lessons, focusing on the upcoming election, putting them into action so we don't repeat those same mistakes. That's what we've been focused on, John.
So Steve Shale, longtime Democratic strategist who's run Florida for the party, told the Washington Examiner that there's a, quote, financial penalty specifically tied to burying the autopsy because donors want a clear accounting before recommitting. The DNC is entering April with negative net cash on hand. So even on your own, standard of does this help us win, is it possible that the autopsy decision is actually costing you the money you need to win?
That's just inaccurate, John. And I'm sure you follow the campaign finance reports like I do. We raised $105 million in 2025. A record amount of money for the first year.
You don't have negative cash on hand right now. You don't have debt that's
yes,
made of negative cash on hand.
We do have debt, John, and that's because I took out a loan last year to make sure we could make deep investments. You know what we've been doing, John? We've raised a record amount of money, $105 million.
I think the angrier Ken Martin gets, the more he says John.
It's the most raised for the first year chair of any DNC chair in the history of this party. And you know what's great? You know what's great about it? We raised in 2017, which is an analogous year, a year right after a presidential election.
He took out a loan because they don't have money? No. That's crazy talk, Dragonfly. Like, we all know that when you are flush with $100+ million of donor cash, that's exactly the time you would want to take out a loan. People love taking out loans that they have the money to pay back instantly. It's just, it's the thing that people do, like you're walking along and you're like, hey, I have $1,000 in my bank account. I should take out a loan for $500 for no reason in particular and just pay it back whenever I want to. Like, yeah, you win the lottery, take a loan. Exactly. The classic move. But what he's saying here makes no sense unless somehow that $100 million plus infusion of cash all went someplace or had to pay down debts from the 2024 election, and they had to take out a loan to cover investments in different candidates. Which kind of seems like what happened from my point of view.
Tom Perez raised $40 million less than what we raised this year. I have
he
more.
didn't have the debt that you guys have.
Yes, he did. He had $76 million in debt. And so my point to you is this, John, okay? I mean, we can trade in all of this, but let's actually trade in facts. $105 million was raised. $85 million of it came from grassroots donors, which is a record amount of grassroots donations raised in the history of the Democratic Party. It shows the energy that's out there.
Yeah, and where did that money go? Where'd that money go, Ken?
The average contribution is $51, by the way, John. And, you know, we raised more than any of the other committees last year, the DS, the DCCC. And I will just tell you this, all of the Republican committees raised more than the DNC. And so that's just a reality of coming out of a year when you lose the presidential election, when you're the party that's out of power. Of course, you're going to not raise as much money as the Republicans. But to suggest...
I feel like that's actually the opposite. Usually, if you lose, people want to give you more money so you don't continue to lose. I don't like people don't generally go, I'm a small dollar donor. You know, my candidate just lost, time to donate to the party. Or my candidate just won, time to donate to the party. Like, people don't do that.
That we're not raising money is inaccurate. We raised $32 million.
Yeah, average contribution is a great way of hiding that you're still funded by mega donors. Exactly.
We raised $32 million in the first quarter. But what we're doing that's a little different, John, is we're spending it. We're raising it and we're spending it. Because one of the lessons we learned...
But you're spending more than you have. I mean, so you guys have 13.9 million cash on hand, right? I'm reading the report. 13.9 million cash on hand, 18.3 million in debt. So that's roughly negative $4.4 million. And I know it's a tough environment for the party out of power, but the DSCC and the DCCC and the Senate candidates have plenty of money. They're all doing great. So it seems like this is an issue unique to the DNC.
That's not accurate, John. Listen,
what part is not accurate?
The reality is we're spending money as we raise it to win elections and to build infrastructure. We haven't...
Yeah, but you currently have a net negative of $4.4 million while you're talking about how you're raising all of this money. And like, why do you have the debt? Like, why not just be flush with cash if you're raising so much money and not get the party into debt?
Invested significant amounts of money, record investments in Virginia. And
yeah, like, where is all of the money going? Because as far as I know, like, most of the money that is being generated and obtained by different political candidates around the country, it's come from their own internal fundraising efforts. It hasn't really, as far as I know, come from the DNC. I don't know where the money that the DNC raises goes. Like, other than to, like, consultants, I haven't heard of, like, the DNC coming in to, like, drop big money on a campaign. Yeah, to the Spirit Bomb in Las Vegas. Yeah.
New Jersey. Investments in Mississippi in their state legislative races to help them flip the state's the Republican supermajority in their state legislature. Investments in the Miami mayoral race to help us win.
Okay. DNC spending Mississippi. All right. Okay. Here's something. DNC announces six-figure investment in Mississippi ahead of critical 2025 state legislative races. Now, 6 figures is a lot of money, but I'm also just going to throw out there that, like, we're talking millions of dollars, and this was in total... Yes. Okay, the DNC chair, Ken Martin, announced a historic increase in monthly investments into our state parties, including $22,500 a month into traditionally red states through the DNC's Red State Fund. Okay. Very, very cool. The DNC's investment will support the Mississippi Democratic Party by freeing up funds for paid programming like direct mail, digital, and TV ads. And the rather nebulous idea of building state party infrastructure ahead of the 2025 and 2026 midterms, and supporting on-the-ground voter contact and organizing efforts. And it just seems to me like 2 of those bullet points are nebulous to the point of like not mattering, and we all know the vast majority of that money is going to like direct mail, digital, and TV ads, which are like the least effective uses for money in the modern environment. But like a 6-figure investment compared to tens of millions of dollars, I don't know, bud.
And a Democratic elected mayor in the first time in 30 years. Investments in the PSC races in Georgia to help us win the first 2 non-federal elected races, statewide races in 20 years in their history. You know, investments throughout the country up and down the ballot, and investments in infrastructure, including the largest investments ever in a 50-state party strategy, where we're making the biggest investments in building out the infrastructure of our state and local party committees. You know, one of the lessons we learned, by the way, John, from the last election is that we waited too long to spend money. In fact, the Republican Party, starting in 2020, right after Biden won that race, the Democratic...
I mean, what? Okay, can I be completely honest about what this seems like to me? What this seems like to me is Ken Martin furiously trying to defend the complete... not defrauding, exactly, but the complete fleecing of the Democratic Party in 2024. Given Biden's old age, given Kamala Harris's unique entry into the 2024 race, essentially, I think what happened here is that consultants upon consultants upon consultants made millions and millions of dollars off of the Democratic Party. And it didn't matter that all of their strategies failed. It didn't matter. They still got to walk away with comedically large sacks of cash. And what that left Ken Martin with in 2025 was a gigantic bill to pay off. What do consultants even do anyway? They come in and they tell political figures how to win races effectively, right? Democrats went into the 2024 cycle with $30 million on hand. And then, okay, the DNC raised $132 million in 2025, had to spend $142 million. Yeah, so like basically Ken Martin comes in and has a massive bill to pay off because of all of the spending on consultants in 2024, and is now covering all of that up, probably because, hey, he needs to keep getting these donations, and people aren't going to donate to the DNC if they think it's all to pay off debt that the DNC has gone into. And so all of this to me reeks of Ken Martin is very desperate around money. The money situation behind the DNC is just fucked. And it's all because Democratic politicians in the establishment have wasted untold amounts of money on useless conservative-leaning consultants. That's it. Like that is my read on this situation. On top of the fact that like the report probably ruins their relationship with groups like AIPAC that are historically supportive of Democratic politicians. You know?
Party packed up the campaign infrastructure. Trump and the Republicans kept going. They kept spending money. They kept organizing. They kept communicating with voters. We did not. And as a result, they had a 3.5-year...
Oh, yeah, no. Most of the Harris campaign folks were consultants. Yes. They weren't like working for her campaign. They were working for consulting firms that were contracted with her campaign.
Long head start and going into the 2024 election. We had 10 million Democrats who actually chose the couch instead of voting in 2024. And part of the reason why is because we weren't communicating with them early and often. What did the Democratic Party decide last year to start doing? We have our local listener program that's already engaging through year-round organizing those voters who dropped off in 2024. You have to spend money to win elections. And one of the lessons we learned is if we wait. Now, look, I know you came up in a certain time and day in politics, but the old conventional wisdom, John, it doesn't fly anymore. The old conventional wisdom is that you waited to make investments until the final 3 months of the election because that's when people were paying attention. Well, guess what? That's bullshit. It's
okay. Can I tell you what else is bullshit? This seems like bullshit. the local listener program that he's talking about. One, I haven't heard about it until right now in this interview. But welcome, local listener. Thank you for joining and being a part of this historic effort to become trusted, community-rooted organizers. Through this program, you'll have the opportunity to become a critical part of the Democrats' organizing infrastructure by learning how to have meaningful, values-based conversations, etc., etc., etc. Like, this all seems like shit that's high on its own farts, to be completely honest with you guys.
Shown. We have to start early. We have to build that infrastructure. We have to flex that muscle early of having conversations with voters so that we actually position ourselves to win. Now, are you criticizing me for spending money early? Because that seems to be what the thing is. And guess what?
No, I think it's great that you're spending money early, and I think it's very important to invest in state parties. I think a 50-state strategy is extremely important. But we're talking about two different things. We're talking about spending money and raising money.
Like, in this program, you have to, like, sign up to bring local listeners to your community. Like, this seems like the shittiest possible version of what, like, No Kings organizing does on the regular. And guess what? No Kings is doing it without the infrastructure of the DNC.
And you raised $11.4 million in March. The RNC raised double that in March. And so if you're going to spend that much money, obviously you have to also raise the money too, because otherwise the difference between investment and just outrunning your costs and taking on a loan because of that doesn't seem like much of a difference to me.
It's not outrunning our costs, John, because we're able to make these investments all throughout the country. And race after race in our state party infrastructure, in our local party infrastructure. You know, if we weren't able to keep up in terms of building out this infrastructure, then there would be a problem. We've won over 90% of the elections on the ballot, and most of them, if not all of them, we had a direct involvement in. And I just say this to you, John, because, you know, it was a bet we made. And I get it. You know, again, all the folks in D.C., what they like to, they seem obsessed about, and they spend a lot of time thinking about is how much money do people have on hand? Versus actually, what are you doing to build out the infrastructure to win? And what is the role of a political party, John? At the end of the day, our job is to build infrastructure that our candidates can tap into, to do the things that...
Isn't the most important job of a DNC chair to go and raise money? And obviously, like
No, guess what? The job of the
unfortunately.
DNC chair, the job of the DNC chair is singular. It's to win. And guess what I've been doing the last year and a half? Win. And guess what I did for 14 years in a very purple state? Win, John.
Right.
And I'm just telling you right now, I think you and others who continue to bet against the DNC, keep betting. Because guess what? Here's the reality, John.
Like, I'm sorry. The fact that, like, he's attacking the Podjohns for being anti-DNC, like, the Podjohns are, like, some of the most friendly establishment voices in, like, the podcasting online space. Like, you are punching at, like, the friendliest face you are gonna find, Ken Martin. And, like, it's boggling my mind.
And we're winning. And we're winning because I'm defining...
Right, but the investments you're making are not... I mean, obviously there's a difference between off-year elections and midterm elections and what it's going to take to build the kind of infrastructure we need to win in 2028, right? I mean, I just think that's it. You've talked a lot about investing in state parties. The headline number is $20,000 a month per state. My understanding is that also includes, like, the Democratic Party of Guam and the Party of the Northern Mariana Islands, who get this basically the same check as Pennsylvania or Wisconsin or North Carolina. I get that every state and territory has DNC members. Every one of them voted in the DNC election. You won. But it's also a real chunk of money that's flowing to places without federal races. And so I just wonder if you have this much debt, is like that the right allocation of money to be giving it to state parties in Guam and Northern Mariana Islands
Jack
when,
still
you know,
have a
Axios
line
report.
of tuck underwear?
I do! It's called ImogeneOlivia.com. Or rather, it's called Imogene Olivia, but the website is ImogeneOlivia.com. It's gender euphoric lingerie designed from the ground up for trans femmes. And, well, wait, correction. It is non-tuck underwear. It's non-tuck. So there's a comfort fit and a smoothing fit. Neither are like gaffs or anything like that. It's the idea that you should be comfortable in your body and you should be comfortable in your underwear. And the underwear seeks to meet you where you're at without trying to restrict you. So go check it out, ImogeneOlivia.com. Link down in the description. There you go. That is my shill for this particular seggy.
I'm definitely left of where the PSA boys fall on things, but they do know what they're talking about when they get into messaging and polling a lot of the time.
Oh yeah.
I wouldn't take a bet against them.
No, like he's 100% correct in this particular exchange between, you know, one of the pod johns and I genuinely don't know which one he is. I'm so sorry. And Ken Martin. This guy's killing it. He's 100% in the correct. You know?
That there's also contemplating layoffs at the DNC.
There's no, again, John, you're just throwing out a bunch of garbage. We've never contemplated.
That's what the report was.
We've never contemplated layoffs at the DNC. I haven't laid anyone off since I've been DNC chair. Okay. And so I just want to be very clear with you again and your listeners, because you're just repeating garbage, you know, pot shots at the DNC. I'm used to taking the pot shots, by the way, you know, and I think that
okay, but also, like, I don't know, it's not like the first time that the DNC would suddenly let staff go. Like, the union that works for the DNC is over here being like, yeah, immediately after the election, they fired a bunch of us.
Mistake that you and others make.
I would never do that. Okay,
I just don't care. I came to this job for one thing, which is to win. And if it wasn't,
so you think the state party allocation to like to Guam and everything is worthwhile allocation of funds?
I think it is a worthwhile allocation, because when we organize everywhere, we can win anywhere. And
no, like, you know, I think that there are interesting arguments you could make for investing in elections in Guam and like some of the U.S. territories that typically don't get a lot of attention or funding, right? Like, I think that there are interesting arguments you could make there, but Ken Martin isn't interested in making those arguments, which you can tell because he immediately pivots into just wankery. Like, when we organize everywhere, we can win anywhere. Like, that's just a meaningless platitude. Like, why invest money into Guam? Make the case, make the argument, explain it. Like,
it's important for us.
Yeah, like, win and then what? Win to what end?
Not to just focus on federal power at the expense of state and local power. This is where I'm challenging the conventional wisdom of all these smart people in Washington, D.C. here, which is that the only thing that matters is control of Congress and the presidency. My job is to help us win everywhere, to build power up and down the ballot throughout the country, including in our territories. And so you and I can just disagree on whether or not those are investments that are worthwhile. I believe they are worthwhile. It's important for us to actually build power for our party and our party values everywhere there's Democrats, and we're going to continue to do that. And so,
thanks for doing this show, Jack. This is a huge difference between left and right. We criticize our party, we vote for instead of worshiping it. Absolutely. Absolutely. Also, I want folks to get involved in their local Democratic parties and their local DSAs, specifically so that we can triumph over this type of, like, frankly, conservative wankery that has taken over the Democratic establishment. Like, you hold an unspeakable amount of power when you are in charge of the DNC. And, like, the fact that Ken Martin is just frittering it away and, like, then waffling meaninglessly about it on, like, the friendliest podcast you could possibly find. Well, like, those of us on the left do the actual work of organizing and showing up and, like, trying to make this all work despite the DNC. Imagine what we could do if the DNC actually worked for us. You know? So the entire point of me telling folks to show up on the local level is, one, because you have an outsized influence on the local level that you live in, right? You can do a lot of really cool shit when you organize just a handful of people on the local level. But number two, because if we build up that local movement into something bigger, we can beat these fuckers. We can beat these guys who are trying to obfuscate the truth from us, who are trying to serve donors, who are trying to, like, frankly, pull the wool over our eyes. And we don't have to put up with this shit. If more of us get involved, we can beat this. We can beat Ken. Don't you want to beat Ken? I want to beat Ken. Let's beat Ken. And once we've overthrown Ken, all of us will be Kenuff.
Whether you think that's a worthwhile investment or not, that's fine. You know, you can take your check back if you don't believe it's a good investment, John. But let me just say this. The role of the Democratic Party is to build infrastructure everywhere so that we can win. Let me give you a couple of examples of what that infrastructure is. You know, our voter file and our organizing tools and our data, every candidate, whether they're running for school board or president, relies on that. We spend over $10 million.
Oh, that's great. So you're going to release the autopsy to show all of the data that everyone is relying on and like inform their political decisions going forward. You know, all of the data you just talked about being so useful to campaigns. Would that data not include the autopsy?
$1 million a year on that, John. That's a critical piece of the infrastructure that people rely on. Without the DNC, they would have to do that on their own, all of these candidates. Our voter protection and legal infrastructure that we build. Every committee and every candidate relies on us to be out there filing lawsuits and protecting the vote. We filed over 1,000 lawsuits, which is a record number of lawsuits over the last year alone, right? Including being lead plaintiffs in many of the big lawsuits challenging Trump's executive orders. This is a piece of the infrastructure people rely on.
On that, you mentioned the voter file.
Yeah.
There's been a talk that a meaningful chunk of the DNC's debt traces to the committee buying the Harris campaig's voter file. Is that accurate? Did you guys buy the Harris campaign's voter file?
No.
That didn't happen?
No, you're talking about buying a fundraising list, but that's not a voter file.
The fundraising list.
Yeah.
Did you?
Of course, we purchased that.
I was just wondering about the rationale for that because it feels like the DNC and the Harris campaign were operating off largely the same data infrastructure during the campaign. So what did buying the list?
You're confusing two things, John. Data infrastructure and fundraising list. Those are separate things. And
But even.
No, they're not. Like. Okay, whatever.
The fundraising list you guys didn't work off. That was additive. Their fundraising list for $6.5 million was additive to that. That was a good investment.
We purchased that list. And let me just say this, John, that happens all the time in campaigns and elections, as you know.
Oh, I know. It's just a big chunk of money. That's why I was just wondering.
I gotta level with you guys. This is bullshit. This is just a way to like do another money shuffle around between these respective organizations and take on the debt of the Harris organization.
Well, but as you know, John, that happens all the time. So it's not unique to this DNC. It's not unique to prior DNC chairs. It's not unique to campaigns or elections. Frankly, campaigns and elections, campaigns at the end of an election sell their list to cover their debt, and so there's nothing.
Yeah, I mean, like, yes, they sell their list to cover that debt, but not because you need the information in that list. It's just a convenient commodity vehicle for the money to change hands. All right, I'm done with this. I gotta go. But if you got anything out of this, hit the like button, hit the subscribe button, hit the follow button, do the button thing, and leave a comment. Comments longer than 8 words really help in the algorithm. And also, get organized, folks. Join your local Dems. Get rid of pieces of shit like this before they can rise to leadership. Okay? Join your local DSA. Make them more effective. Make your local Dems more progressive. If you need help doing that, join our Discord, !Discord in any of the chats. And we will help you get set up with your local Dems and your local DSA. And like, we're here to help you. We have different chats for folks who've organized with their local Dems, who've organized with their local DSA. We're happy to hook you up. We want to get you started because we want everyone everywhere to be organizing as much as they humanly can, because that is the only way we get out of this this muck. All that being said, folks, also check out ImogeneOlivia.com, gender euphoric lingerie. Link down in the description. Let's keep on going. Will I be back later? Yes, I will. I will be back later tonight, if my voice is okay. We kept this to a clean 2.5 hours, and I appreciate all y'all. I gotta go rest my voice for a bit, and hopefully it will be up for talking longer later. Don't want to overdo it. All right, if you enjoyed the show, please consider dropping those subs, donos, memberships, super chats, etc., because you guys make the show possible. You all know what to do.
Click the button, click the button, click the button, click the goddamn button, click the button, click the button, click the button, click the goddamn button, click the button, click the button, click the button, click the goddamn button, click the button, click the button, click the button, click the goddamn button, click the button, click the button, click the button, click the goddamn button, click the button, click the button, click
Hell yeah. Also, I will be back later. Didn't a part of the civil rights just get purged by SCOTUS? When I come back later tonight, we'll be talking about what SCOTUS did to the Voting Rights Act. And again, why you need to get really fucking organized right now, folks. So, talk to you all later tonight. Bye.